Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new faith-based drama, The Forge, from the Kendrick brothers. This is directed by Alex Kendrick, who co-wrote it with his brother Steven. And this film focuses on young Isaiah, who just graduated high school, plays a lot of video games, plays basketball, tries to flirt with girls at a coffee shop, and doesn't have a whole lot of plans. But then he finds Jesus. And then his whole life becomes about Jesus, and nothing but the Jesus. And this film, I will say, has a good heart to it in terms of the lessons that he learns are good lessons. They're good lessons to help him become a better person, for the most part. But this film leans so heavily into its messaging about Christianity, and a lot of it sounds really toxic when you take a step back and think about it. I don't want to get into like my personal beliefs in terms of religion and stuff like that, but just the framework of this film is so challenging because it's like, shun every other interest that you have. Your only interest is Jesus, and you'll be a better person. And the film celebrates that by having all the characters around Isaiah being like, yay! That's great, especially his mom. And it feels a little gross, to be honest. And then every time they do anything in this film, it's always about, if you pray hard enough, it'll happen. And it's frustrating because it takes away all the agency and the action of its characters who are working really hard to accomplish things, but no, it's Jesus. And everything about this film, for 80% of it, is just read a Bible verse, pray, and, cry, like, because something really heavy happened. That's this film. Rinse, dry, repeat. Over and over and over again. And it's frustrating in that way, because it's just so bogged down in messaging and the themes and its ideas that it's trying to push down your throat that a lot of the time it forgets to be a movie. And sure, it's a character study of Isaiah and his connection with his new boss who mentors him into faith. Joshua, played by Cameron Arnett, who I think is a really strong character, strong performance, but this film is so overbearing with its messaging, and also some of it is really problematic. Like, you have this idea of the Forge, which is this group of men who meet, dine, and mentor each other, support each other, pray for each other. That all sounds well and great. The final moments of this film, Joshua goes off on this rant, like this big call to action, that sounds like a cult and a Ponzi scheme all rolled into one, where it's just like, we can't add, we must multiply, and like, you get this person who will get that many more people, who will get that many more people. This needs to be everywhere. We need to find them in every place you can. Bring this message into schools and this and that. I'm just like, oh my god, this is so aggressive and toxic. And they gloss over, like, this company that Isaiah starts working for has a really great thing of, like, they do this philanthropy, but it's one of those things where they have this mission work, and they don't even dive into the fact that, like, mission work is pretty problematic. You're trying to force other people's cultures out because you think your religion is better. And there's so much toxic elements of how this is all presented, but it's all cloaked in positivity, and it really muddles, like, the actual message, because it feels like a cult. And this film drags a lot. This is a 2 hour and 4 minute movie, and there's like one section of this film where it turns into like there's an actual conflict of trying to do this really crazy big overnight order for this client that might leave this company and sink Joshua's company. That actually, it's really cliche and tropey, but like actually feels like, oh, I'm engaged watching a movie instead of being talked at, preached at, and beat over the head with messaging. In the end, this is a film that has so many good intentions, has some solid performances, but it's so bogged down in trying to be a message instead of an actual movie, which there's so much criticism about like big blockbusters being like, we're not making message movies, we need to make entertainment. And then the people that criticize those big movies make movies like this that is not a movie, it's just a message. Beating you over the head with it. And no matter how sincere and nice and good the message can be, it's presented in such an aggressive and overbearing way that this was just too much to sit through. I feel bad because this movie has some good messaging about it. But how it's presented, how it's framed, and how it's just spilled out in endless conversations, reading of Bible verses, and nothing really happening except just talking at each other. This film feels so flimsy and also problematic in ways. So in the end, this one is only going to work for those that are all about the message, that are already extremely devout and unrelenting churchgoers. And this is not really a film that's set up to inspire others to follow through, because it's so oversimplified of everything. It's like all of his problems are magically cured because he found Jesus, and then like a whole entire life's worth of trauma with his father leaving is solved with one conversation and a good cry, and then bam, he's good. And it's just like, I've been there. It's not something that gets solved in a conversation and one prayer to God. This is frustrating a lot of the time. But, like I said, it has some good heart and good messaging. It's just the way that this is all put together really does not work. But those are my thoughts on The Forge. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.